We will be talking about our declining reading culture, especially here in Nigeria. Now, studies have actually shown that there is an almost symbiotic relationship between reading, learning, and intelligence. The analytical skills that provide the ability to understand issues and solve problems are the product of intensive reading. Reading regularly is a way to mental health, which enhances emotional intelligence. It helps with self-awareness as well, empathy, social skills, and also managing relationships more effectively. These are some of the importance of reading, which also provides a therapeutic effect and inner tranquility while also slowing mental decline.
Now, Nigeria's literacy level stood at around 63%, lower than Angola with 66%, and Cameroon, which has 77%. More than 51 million books have been sent to 55 African countries since 1998. However, books have been losing ground due to the increasing influence of social media and smartphones. Usman Ibrahim, a librarian and former secretary, Nigerian Library Association, FCT chapter, is in the studio to discuss declining reading culture, particularly among youth. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, sir.
Good morning.
All right.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning. All right, so let's start with this question. You know, there's actually this age-old myth that says Africans do not like to read or they lack reading culture. Is this the case, and what do you think is responsible for this?
Yeah, there are quite a number of reasons that Africans doesn't want to read. Only few of us that wanted to read, and when you see those ones that read, you see the progress and achievement and elevations in the society. But when we look at the history, right from the olden days, an African man doesn't have means of reading until when the Europeans or the Arabs, like in the northern Nigeria, until when the Arabs, the trans-Sahara trade comes to the northern Nigeria, and then starting exchanging books and other things, and people start to read. While in the southern part of the country is when the Europeans comes to the country. So those are part of the indices or incidents that people don't read. Actually, unlike the Europeans, unlike the Arabs, when you take the history of Mesopotamia, when you read the history of the Alexandria, those great empires do have means of communication, writing and other things. But in Africa, actually, I don't know in history whether there is any form of writing skills or any writing this. So this actually contributed a lot. But with times, we graduated, and the Arabic teaching comes to the country. The Europeans bring the education to the world, but still yet, now when we correlate it now, before we don't have, we have, and now the issue of the reading is getting bad. Maybe because of the social media, because of the challenges of economics, the family doesn't even keep eyes on the children anymore. The father is going to look for food, the mother is struggling, so who will keep eyes? Unlike during my father happens to be a military officer, we have a small library, and every time when he comes back, he will ask us, how many books did you read? And my mother is a housewife actually, so though she is not learned as that stage, but still she encourages us to read. So
now, talking about libraries, with the advent of technological advancements, countries have actually tried to key into establishing virtual libraries.
Yeah.
Where are we with the Nigerian virtual library project in higher institutions?
Yes, I happens to be one of the participants or coordinators that initiate a project which is being sponsored by Japanese government and UNESCO. That's back to 2001. 2001, and we had that project in Kaduna, and we drew the feasibility studies of the virtual library in Nigeria. At that time, I was at the National Library. I was heading the digitization section of the National Library. The Japanese government made funds available, and with the help of UNESCO, and we drew the feasibility study for the virtual library. But unfortunately, things are not being the way it is, we can say, because if you look at the investment in education in Nigeria, it's not what to talk about. You see, another problem is the strikes and a lot of things. But having said that, the virtual library initiatives in Nigeria, I don't think has any reached any stage. Unlike most of the libraries in this country are not even automated, talk less of being virtual or electronic library. I happen to be also one of your consultants here when we use the Greenstone to digitize some of your material here to encourage the virtual library initiative in the media trust. But with time, I think the TED Fund is trying. But another issue is quackery in the systems, in the professional system. People that read ICT feel like they are the ones to do the virtual library, which is not. Maybe you have to get the knowledge of the ICT and also the librarianship, because you can't do a virtual library where only the ICT, where the metadata, where is the bibliographic information. And those are the key to such information. So,
okay, now how did smartphones and social media frenzy affect our reading culture? Because you find out that these days
it really does. Nowadays, you see all the kids using phone, tablets, iPad, and other things. But what I'm trying to link is that maybe we forget to go with the phase of what development in the world. There is need for Ministry of Education, for institutions, and also the authors that are writing books to change another method of channel of delivery or disseminations of the information. Maybe those authors and education can go through Facebooks, can go through Instagrams, Twitter, so that they can be posting those links of their titles, and maybe the younger ones will be able to pick from there. But reading culture also has to do with the family. The bulk is with the family. If the family are really serious, I think they will try to put their kids to reading. Okay. Because using phones and this, because there is need, when you want to read, when you have the reading habit, you need a serene environment. You need a quiet place. You need no distractions. So, and you know, a lot during our days, there is this James Hadley Chase novels, and we used to pass it around to our friends. Did you read this title? Did you read this? But now, nothing like that.
Now, when you visit, particularly public schools, even within the FCT, some of them don't even have the normal libraries that we have, not to even talk of virtual libraries. And when the COVID-19 pandemic came, it was really difficult. For pupils to keep. So what would you say the Nigerian government should do, as a form of response to some of this challenges?
Let me even tell you something, not only in the primary school and the secondary school. Could we believe in the tertiary institution, the university, polytechnics, the the chief executives of those institutions, like the vice chancellors, the rectors, the provosts, doesn't even take library serious. I am in the profession. I am a consultant of library. I'm also the representative of Elsevier in Nigeria, the largest publisher in the world. They have 25% word information in their base. I am their country representative in Nigeria. I know what is happening in the libraries. You will see that the vice chancellors, the rectors doesn't even consider. They will only come to the library when there is accreditations. When there is accreditation, it is when you will see the administrative, the management will be struggling to stock the library, to make the library function. And after accreditation, that is all. And if you want any research output, if you want your high ranking in the institution, the university to get good ranking, the university to get the polytechnic to get good, you have to have output of your research. How do you get output from it? You have to read. You have to read. The researchers have to come to the library to read. Even if they are not coming to the library should be virtual, should be electronic. They can have access to electronic journals, electronic books. But reverse is the case. Let me also tell you something. In 2014, I made an initiative with the committee of the vice chancellors. And we decided that to say, okay, we can roll out journals, electronic journals, and electronic books to the institution. And graciously, the minister, Ibrahim then took the matter to the president, Goodluck Jonathan, and he approved it. And we start the initiative, and we go around the university teaching them how to use the databases, how to improve. And could you believe the ranking of Nigerian university and institutions increased between 2014 to 2016. Unfortunately, when there is change of government, the idea, even our debt has not been paid. They refuse to pay the debt that the university consumes. And also another issue is that when the students come to the universities, there is this matriculations. There is this going around to the library to issue them. And you will see that the students are not even interested to have the library. They believe that the library is just only when exam comes, I will just go and rush and read and then pass exams. And well, everything boils down to economics. Even the lecturers, also the teachers, are struggling with the economics, so they don't even feel that let me do this, let me do that, and increase the reading culture of the children.
Okay, so now countries like Ghana actually have higher literacy rate as compared to Nigeria. What can be done to actually change this now?
You see, the scenario in Ghana and in Nigeria is different. Let me be sincere to you. I've been to Ghana and I have been to their to see how their education system is working. Unlike in Nigeria, the family setup in Ghana is different from Nigerian setup. The family setup in Ghana always try to show productivity, to show hard work. Here in Nigeria, we value money, quick money. How do we get quick money? Most of the people even going to the school is, how do I get certificate and get work in CBN, in NNPC, or in big organizations?
So you're saying the family is the major problem?
Yes, the family has a lot to do. The family has a lot to do. We have to remove this issue of material things if we really want to progress as a nation. These material things I must get, I must do or die affairs. No. Because hard works pay. The moral values has decayed. You can see what is happening in the country. You can see Ghana. An average family in Ghana, you will see how they treat their children. Come back to Nigeria. Take an example. Maybe visit to Ghana and visit even the slum families, not the elite. Don't go to the slums and see how they treat their children. They show them hard work. They show them value for hard work. Unlike here in Nigeria. It's unfortunate.
But some would say the system is not working because of some of the methods of teaching in the country. Would you say that is a contributing factor as well?
Yeah, some of the method, but still back to when you see some of the method, yeah, we can see some of the method because most of the teachers also still come back, when I will still come back to the economic story, the poverty, the greed that Nigerian society has put themselves in. Okay, let me tell you one story. While I was in the University of Maiduguri, I had a friend who was studying at Ramat Polytechnic in Maiduguri. And he happens to be the best student in the class. So the lecturer now assign every responsibility to him. All if there is text, if there is exam, he used to gather the papers and bring to the lecturer. And then the lecturer, they have their group in the evening. They used to play this card, the normal card that we play. So in the run. And then the boy, that my friend, will come close to the lecturer with the scripts. And this is a script of 500 students. How can we learn 500 students, 250 class of students? And then my friend will sat near the lecturer while the lecturer is playing his card. And then my friend will say, this is, you call the name and the number. The lecturer will now look, give him 50. You write 50. You can see those. The method, as you said, is one thing, and because the class is overcrowded, the teacher is not a spirit to monitor 250 students, to monitor 500 students. He doesn't have fun. He has time for his family. He has time to do other things. How will he do that? On this, when I remember this, sometimes I met with Professor Rashid, the National University Commission Executive Secretary, and we had a chat, and I told him that I had been to Malaysia, and I see how things are going. We need to cut the number of students per lecturer if we really want to get it. Even in the primary, right from the primary school, we need to cut the number. If a class is more than 40, you don't expect productivity. You don't expect something good because the lecturer, the teachers, all have their own problems and they cannot monitor. So I told the professor, in Malaysia, for example, if there is a class of 101 economics, there will be like 5 or 7 lecturers. And each they have maximum of 20 students. And there is a portal. When you are registering your course, 101 economics, once it reaches 10, it closes and the next portal for the next lecturer opens. This minimizes the problem of overcrowding. And still, the Commonwealth introduced something what they call, I forgot the name of this database. It's a very good way of teaching. And the Nigerian University and the polytechnics are not ready to embrace it. Okay. We have to go virtual to help in the teaching process. The teaching process, the method of the teaching, and the attitudes are all part of the things that is hampering progress in education and reading habit in Nigeria.
Okay. Now, there's a question that has actually been bugging me because a lot of youth these days, you find out that they read, but not hard copies. They read more on their smartphones and other devices. What's the difference between, reading on a smartphone and reading a hard copy?
Okay. Reading on the smartphone cannot give you that joy and assimilation of what you are doing because it keeps on distracting. Because as while you are reading, maybe a text message will come in or a call might come in. and that will distract you. Unlike when you have a hard copy in a serene environment, in a quiet place to read, everything that you read will be in you, unlike the smartphone and the tablet. Most of those tablets, iPhone that even the developed countries are using, they only use it to read paragraphs and passages and other small things. But really reading, if you want to read, really, you need a book. And that is why you see, when you go to the European country, you will see that they are taking their children to the library, to the bookshop, to expose them. And you will see them giving them novels to read. But in this Abuja, it is very hard to see a parent taking his children to a bookshop, neither to the library. There is library at Area 2. Very hard. I was sometimes there at Area 2 National Library as one of the staffs there. But hardly you will see a parent carrying his 2 or 3 or 4 kids coming to the library to show them. They will only come during the school, when the school is organizing excursion. You will see them coming, and excursion is maybe once in a year or something like that.
But how have these libraries been able to survive?
Even the government neglect everything. There is no budgeting for the library. They are struggling. You will see, when you go to the library, you will see leaking roofs, you will see dilapidated chairs. And you know, those elite children or those children, there are some that have this feeling that I don't want a dirty place. So why will they go there? Even the parent. So the place has to be neat. When you go library outside this country, you see very neat. You see everybody likes to come there. But here in Africa or in Nigeria especially, but we are even different. We can say not in Africa, because if you go to South Africa, it's a different thing. You see things are different, or like maybe because of the presence of the white people in South Africa, and that is why maybe they are different. But here, the library nobody cares about. There is another library at Wuse Zumfo, where that bakery is. Nothing. There is another one they built at Gudu. Nothing.
Now, many youth have this ideology that in this 21st century, you know, of technological inventions, hard copy books are meant to be kept for history reasons. And some would say, well, we have digital archives, you know, as well. What are your thoughts, you know, about that?
We can't say that hard books are kept for the history. No. Maybe history, but you need to consult books, really, if you want to progress. If you want to progress, you need. But an electronic copy can be like a surrogate, like something that you can get in case of disaster. And that is why even the Europeans are digitizing books and doing books because of disasters. Because there are disasters, when you read the history of library, there are disasters that hit the walls and other places, flood, earthquake, and other things that hit libraries. And how do you fall back on those materials? And that is why they are encouraging, because it's part of the reason of digitizing, to avoid disaster, lyrics management is part of. But when we say books for history, I don't think, because if you really want to be, want to be good, you want to progress, want to develop, you have to go back to books.
So do we say digitization has its advantages?
Yes, it does, because of the risks, as I said earlier on, disaster can strike the library, and you can fall back on a digitized copy. I think that is even one of the reasons that your organization did when they realized that some of those copies, something might happen to them, we start digitizing them in this thing. And I initiated also another project in the library, National Library, while I was there. There is what they call the spooner, the legal drive. You know, the law has given the National Library mandate to collect 3 copies of each publication. So I now said, okay, while we are buying the 3 copies, where this thing we should be going with our flash drive to media organizations to give us e-copy. And we digitize them, and we are even putting them in CDs to sell to the organizations that wants to get e-copies of those.
Okay, now certain individuals and organizations are making efforts to improve the reading culture. Would you say they're actually doing enough or not?
They are doing, but they are not getting the right support in different cultures. The right support from the families. I think maybe the strategy has to change. They have to, maybe like the NGOs that are doing that, maybe they have to involve more of the parents, not only the children. When they are organizing shows and other things, they should also be able to call the parents so that they inform the parents. Some of the parents don't know the even importance of their children to read. So you need to also, they need to capture the parent also amongst their awareness, so that the parent will also, because when you organize a show or you are improving reading habits to the children, maybe you only capture the children. After the show, after they left the room, are you staying with the children? Is the parent. So the parent have to believe that reading is very good to their children, to their world.
Okay, what about teachers? Where do they come in?
Also the teachers have to do that. Also, they have to be organizing like maybe a reading competition within the class, like in the primary school, in the secondary school. Before, during our time in the secondary school, there is this book club. And they go around the school to encourage you, and there will be drama. They will find a way to attract you to that club. Unlike now, I don't think most of the schools even have these reading clubs in the schools. And some of the teachers, as I said, the economic is biting everywhere. Some people will not even think, it's not food, it's not, I'm looking for food, not book. So not knowing that the book will lead you to the food.
Okay, so in terms of policy, do you think we need to change our policies in Nigeria with regards to, digitization?
Yes, I think even the World Bank have set a center of, the National Open University have a center of this kind of changing method of learning and other things. I think the policy, there is already this policy, it's the implementations. It's the implementation and the seriousness of government. They know everything. They know everything. They have the beautiful policy. Okay, as I told you, we design and provide feasibility study for the virtual library for tertiary education. It's there on the doors has covered the report. We did it 2001. How many years now? About almost 19 years. There are policies, there are brilliant ideas, but the implementation and the seriousness of those that are supposed to implement it.
Okay, now you'd actually hardly see people make use of public libraries except maybe researchers, and the likes. Do you know of any private initiative that provides library services to stimulate reading?
Yes, there is. There is one gentleman at Karshi, Bawa Karshi. I used to go there. Okay. He has an initiative of this thing, private library. Very serious gentleman. And he's from rural, and you see how he's trying his best. Sometimes, I think, while I was in the National Library, we made an effort to see that he even have a motorcycle that he used to put some books going to the market days. Very nice guy. He's in Karshi. The library is there in Karshi. And I have been supporting him actually to see how he used to pack some books. I don't know now whether the Minister of the Economic has been biting. So I don't know where he's about. Maybe I will check on him after this program, inshallah.
Okay.
To see how he's doing. He's doing very well that time. Because he used to have a motorcycle, pick some books, go to the market, they display them. And he has a small library doing it. But even the elite, some of the elite have private libraries, but they don't allow
The public is
outsiders,
not
outsiders
access.
to visit this, and this is not maybe those ones that the family of those great people that passed away. They should be. I'm calling on them. They should be able to open up to the society to visit those libraries that are at home.
Personally, I actually know of a lot of individuals who have embarked on book drive projects. You know, old books, they just gather and give to schools in need. But it is one thing to actually give those books, and it is one thing
To read.
for the students to read as well.
So, you mentioned that the family, you know, is one of the key agents that will ensure all of these issues are implemented. For parents that are illiterate, that have not been to school before, what kind of initiative? How can you engage them? To teach their children to love reading.
That is where the NGOs, where the community initiative comes up. Those ones that are not literate, the parents that are not literate or did not go to school, it is the responsibility of the NGOs and the government, especially those schools within the community, to be organizing such things. And what I say that you should not only organize for the children, you should be inviting the parents. If you really want an impact, invite the parents, even the mother, maybe if the father is really busy in the community, that those ones that didn't go to school, invite the mother. She will be happy to even attend a kind of workshop or something, seminar or something. She will be happy. And then you tell her, even in the local language, the importance and how if the children read, they can develop and become something else. Since most of Nigerians were now tied with material wealth, so tell her,
You'll be rich. The future.
you will be rich.
Now, UNESCO actually defined literacy as the ability to identify, understand, create, communicate, and compute using printed and written materials. So, do you think the ability to read and write is not the real definition of literacy?
It is. The ability to read and write. If you are not literate, you cannot read and write. We can, but there is.
It's not enough.
It's not but there are those ones that we say traditional knowledge. People that have it in their head, taking tales.
Right.
So,
Or from experiences.
So reading and writing does not fall into that. In the olden days, when we are young, we use the old ones used to tell us stories. And they are literate. If I can add to the definition of UNESCO, those ones that say the tales, because you can pick from what they are saying and even write a lot of stories. So they are literate in their own
Capacity.
because they know what you don't know. They can tell you something that you don't know. You can see some they even know herbs, some know treatments. So we expand the definition to include those ones that have tales.
Okay.
Yes.
So before we wrap up the discussion, many experts are of the opinion that, as you've mentioned earlier, the federal government did not prioritize education. In this 2022 budget, they said experts are saying the budget is quite low for education. Do you
Even
think?
in the previous years, we have been calling. Even the previous years, you can look. Unfortunate to say, it's really unfortunate to say that you can leave an organization like ASU to strike for 9 months. For 9 months, government to allow, can they use all their means, bargaining power, paid? You can beg them. It doesn't mean that you are so pompous. You can go low down and say, please, for the sake of this, for the sake of the children, for the sake of the country. But government too pompous, what does it give us? The loss of that 9 months, we will not see it now, maybe in 2 or 3 years. I saw one media, something in the social media circulating. A journalist is interviewing a matriculated student. What is BSc? He said business education.
Yeah, I saw that too. I saw
You
that
saw it?
yesterday. Yes.
So some did not even know how many years they are. Some did not know the nomenclature of their degree. And they are going to the university, matriculating. The decay is much. All this we want to get, it's not the answer. You have to work. Look at Japan, look at China, look at India. The way India adopted the strategy, look at their growing. The school feeding program of the government, I think it's been, they saw it in India. In the morning, the government will provide milk and other things to the poor children so that they will drink from the house, and then when they come to the school, they will have food. So it increased the enrollment of the children. And when they increase the enrollment, the method of education increased, and then look at now they are growing.
Well, we also have school feeding program here in Nigeria.
But some have actually criticized, the nutritious content of that food that they give to the children.
Not even the nutritious content. The Nigerian factor is deeply involved in that school feeding. You could remember during the COVID-19 pandemic, they said they are going to feed children in the city. I said, where will they see the children?
They're not in school.
They are
at
not
that
in school.
moment.
They said they will go to their parents. How?
I remember a saga that came up in United States where they said they were giving some of the children half egg instead of a whole egg.
Yeah, that too.
So I think it's unfortunate Mr. President has never taken education so serious for the past 6.5 years now, or 7 years we can say. Remember, only 19 months to go. It's only 19 months. And in all from 2015 to 2021 now, what is the percentage of the budget in Nigeria? Incessant strike, no attention to the polytechnic strike, the quality of education. But now, I can say kudos to them. If they will really implement it, I think they wanted to increase the College of Education, those ones studying, they say they are giving them 75,000 per student.
Hopefully we see that come.
For those ones that are reading BSc education.
What about cutoff marks into universities? I think a few years ago, they actually reduced, especially for that.
They have now even removed it. Huh? It's left for the university
to decide.
Yes, to decide. Yes, I remember that.
You see, there is a lot of politics in this cutoff mark of 18. And me, I did not take cutoff. When I enter university, I did not use cutoff mark. The issue is that the corruption has entered deeply, even in the cutoff mark, in the jam, in everything we do. People want shortcut. And that is why I always take you back to the family. Whatever government will do, whatever NGOs will do, we'll have to involve the family. We have to know the value of hard work. We have to remove these material things in our life if we want to progress. If not, we will continue to go around in the same cycle. This problem will start this, and you see a lot of things. It's unfortunate.
So what do you think about this statement? Examination is not a measure of intelligence.
It is, it is not. It is in a capacity sometimes when you want to measure, you find out, but sometimes it's not. Because the anxiety, sometimes people, the anxiety in the class, the other things that some peoples cannot endure. Peoples are created differently. There is individual difference. Someone will be free to talk. Some people are fluently in speaking. Some people are not good in speaking, but good in writing.
Yes.
So all these, when you put it together, some people are not free. When you keep them in a hole and say, write exam, they will mess up. But when you give them out outside and you say, okay, practicalize it, you will see the talent, you will see the education. So that is why I say it is, it is not.
Okay, I'm saying this because, you know, sometimes people prioritize the class of degrees people graduate with.
Yes,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to employment.
Especially,
Yes.
they say 2-1 or 1
Yes,
first
it has
class.
to be 2 out of first class.
First
yeah.
class. While maybe, especially some of you will see some students that are good in science, some of them, they know it off head. They can do practical. So how do you?
Theories and
But the
issue.
theories, they cannot be able to do anything. So how do you do that?
And then you have a lot of third-class degree holders who are actually doing
Doing
bigger
great.
things.
Yes.
Bigger things.
Doing great.
So there is even somebody with third class will do something better than the
Exactly.
first
Yes,
class
yes,
student.
exactly.
Because, as I said, fraud and corruption has entered everything. You can see what I'm telling you. The story of the teacher say, give them 5 marks, give them 40. How did he measure them? A class of, now we cannot even say examination is the measurement, because in a class of 500, how can you measure? And a teacher will sit down playing card and say, Mr. Ibrahim, 111, give him 50.
Without even going through.
How will he go through the scripts? How can he, is he a spirit to read 500 student script and find out the writing there? It's not possible. Let's be realistic. If we cannot train the number of students in class, then examination as measurement, I cannot believe it.
And the education system in Nigeria needs, you know, a total overhaul as well.
Total overhaul and a lot of investment. You see, the Iranians have put so much money in research and they are making it. If you want to develop, it's a knowledge economy now. It's not by oil, it's not by solid mineral. You need, even if you want to tap this solid, when you get the education, there are better ways to do it.
Right.
There are better ways. So education is the key until the government and the politician realize that we will not make progress. I'm sorry to say.
Okay.
I think
Because of time?
yes, because
We
of
have to
time.
go.
Yes, it was quite an interesting topic, by the way. Thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim Usman, for gracing us with your presence.
We hope to have
so
you
much.
next time.
Yeah.
Thank
as
you.
well.
Thank you so much.